So here we will be having our topics aligned on social engineering and security awareness. We will be checking into the most, we can say, uh, fascinating, okay, and frankly, it's one of the most dangerous uh, topics in cybersecurity, which is the social engineering and security awareness. So by the end of today's uh, session, okay, our main goal will be to understand what social engineering is, and why attackers target people rather than machines. Okay, we'll also we'll also try to identify common attack types. Okay, we learn how to spot suspicious red flags in messages or calls, and we practice basic defense techniques, and we will look at why building a strong security awareness culture inside organizations matters so much. Now, let's try to have a quick game. Imagine, imagine you're an attacker. Okay, what would you rather spend your time trying to hack? Okay, you have an option. Option A, a multi-million dollar computer system with with enterprise firewalls, encryption, and 24/7 monitoring. Or an option B, wherein uh, the person is sitting at the desk, okay, or at a table who already has the master key uh, and the password or the credentials. Okay. Again, what would you rather have? A multi-million dollar computer system with enterprise firewalls, encryption, and 24/7 monitoring, or an option B, the person sitting at the desk who already uh, has the master key and the password or the credentials. Okay, so definitely, okay, the most answer would always be the option B. Okay, think about it. Why why spend months writing complex code or in at least trying to crack high level encryption? Okay, when you can rather, okay, when you can simply trick a tired, busy person, okay, or a yeah, tired or a busy person who is a into giving his or her credentials, okay, in maybe minutes or seconds, and that will bring us to the concept of social engineering. So, what is social engineering? It is the use of psychological manipulation and deception, okay, to convince people to take an action they normally shouldn't. Now, that action could be revealing in nature, or it has sensitive information, okay? So that action could also be granting unauthorized access, wiring money, downloading a file, or simply clicking a malicious link. Okay? Now, the easiest way to think about this is instead of breaking down the steel, okay, or breaking down the system door or the system, the attacker simply tricks someone that is inside into the open, that is someone inside, and at least trying to make him or her open the uh, the door. Okay. Now it hacks the human, not the operating system. Okay. Now, uh, why is this technique so incredibly effective, or we should say efficient or effective? Okay. Now, it works because social engineering doesn't exploit software bugs. It exploits normal human behavior. We naturally want to be helpful. We trust familiar names. We get nervous when someone authority or someone in uh, or an authorized person tells us there's an emergency, and our curiosity spikes when we're offered a reward. Okay? Now, attackers the attackers will try to understand this psychology inside and out. So they do is they manipulate human emotions first. Then it will have fear, urgency, trust, and helpfulness. Okay, this will be long before they will ever touch the technology. So, what are the different types of social engineering? Let's start with the classic and most common attack, which is phishing. Okay, think of this like a casting or having a giant fishing net. Okay, the attackers will uh, the attackers will send fraudulent messages, hoping that someone will really bite that certain message. Now, they are after your password, bank details, credit card numbers, social media, or company credentials. Now, a a classic hook or a classic spam message would sounds like um, your account is about to be suspended. Verify your account immediately. So this would create a panic. So as a recipient of this one, you might be able to click. Okay, okay. If they create a panic, okay, so you click before you uh, think. Okay, that's it. You click before you think. Okay, so that's what. So how do we catch these red flags before it get caught? Okay, we check for unfamiliar senders, an urgent language, unexpected attachments, or weird URLs, where the spelling would look slightly, we can say it would likely look like slightly off. Okay. Also, look out for poor grammar and request asking for your login credentials. Now, login credentials would normally or legitimate companies won't ask for this or for those over a random message. Now, when you see any message like stop, check, verify. Okay, you can say you can take a breath and confirm if it's really through an official channel doing anything. Okay. Now next is smishing, which is simply phishing SMS or text messages. Now, uh, maybe we have seen all this on our phones. Your uh, you have here an example wherein your parcel could not be delivered. Pay 45 delivery fee to reschedule. Okay. Now, they would love using familiar themes like parcel deliveries, bank notifications, government services, fake promos, or urgent job offers. Now, because text feels personal and goes straight to our pockets, people uh, people often drop the so-called they drop their guard, meaning uh, threat that are suspicious, okay, may be in any nature, okay, would be uh, should be declared as suspicious. Okay. Now we have your phishing, okay, or a voice phishing, which happens over a phone calls. Now imagine answering your phone and hearing maybe good afternoon. I'm calling from your bank's fraud department. Now we detected a suspicious activity. Please, please provide your OTP. We just sent to your phone. Now that's already a red flag. Okay, we notice the pattern wherein the caller integrates extreme urgency that would um, sound professionally and tries to pressure you into handing our over sensitive info like your OTP or PIN. Now, remember this one. Remember this one. Legitimate institutions and banks will never call asking for your one-time passwords. Now, another tactic is pretexting. Okay, here the attacker will invent a scenario, a pretext, that's the pretext, and pretends to be someone that you could have, or that you could able to trust. Okay, like an IT technician, an HR officer, or a bank rep, a professor, or your boss. Okay. Now, they might say, okay, they might say, "Hey, I'm from an IT support. Okay, we're updating systems today and need your username and password to keep your access." Now, because we're conditioned to cooperate with authority and helpful coworkers, it's easy to it's easy to comply unless we verify who is really on the other hand. Okay.